In today's video, we will talk about how to rejuvenate your body without expensive supplements or treatments. Let's go. As always, I recommend you to download the presentation as PDF file from the link in the description. You will get access to the links to understand my point better, and also to the source of information, so you can make your own research and decide for yourself what will be better for you. Okay, we will start talking about genetics, because it's just a base of so-called official science for now. The scientific history of genetics began with works of Gregor Mendel in the mid-19th century, and before Gregor Mendel's work, genetics was largely theoretical, focusing on observations of inheritance of traits from one generation to the next, without understanding the underlying mechanisms. Mendel's work laid the foundation for experimental genetics, focusing on the principle of inheritance. By the end of the 19th century, the crucial role of long, spindly structures, or so-called chromosomes, visible through the microscope in the nuclei of the dividing cells, was established as the carriers of genetic information. In the 40s and 50s, the concept of DNA began to emerge. So this is Gregor Mendel, and he made experiments with some plants and discovered about dominant and recessive genes. So it is very important work for experimental genetics. So the discovery of the double helix structure of DNA by Watson and Crick in 1953, revealing the molecular basis of inheritance, revolutionizing biology. The discovery allowed scientists to understand how genes work, including gene expression and protein biosynthesis. Techniques like DNA sequences and recombinant DNA technology emerged, enabling researchers to manipulate and analyze DNA. In the second half of the 20th century, the molecular background of genetics became more understandable and made it possible to launch the Human Genome Project. The United States government had spent around $3 billion on the project, and the first graph of this Human Genome Project was announced in 2003. The cost of sequencing an individual genome dropped dramatically from $1 million in 2007 to approximately $600 nowadays. So this is a project, and it was much promoted I remember this activity. So there was a lot of hopes on this project, which actually didn't work. While the Human Genome Project was initially hailed as the holy grail of biology to revolutionize our understanding of human biology, health, medicine, and even behavior, it faced challenges in translating research findings into tangible benefits in the short term, according to what you can see in more details in this link. It also appeared that there are sequences in DNA that have no known biological function, so-called junk DNA. Most organisms have substantial amount of junk DNA. That so-called genetic junk turned out to be functional, as was predicted by the intelligent design theory in the 90s. So you can learn about intelligent design theory. It is not mainstream of the biology, but yes, again, it is a matter of discussion. So intelligent design theory stated that certain features of the universe and living things are best explained by an intelligent course opposite to chromosomal mutations and selection of the fetus to survive, or so-called natural selection, according to evolutionary theory of Darwin. Okay, so it is again what is working, what is true. It's again a big question. The evolutionary theory cannot explain many facts such as Cambrian explosion, a period of rapid diversification of animal life, and that occurred about 539 million years ago, See my presentation for more details. Evolutionary theory does not explicitly address certain aspects of human consciousness and many more questions. It is actually failed to explain so many facts in biology that, again, I think it is not true. I mean, it can explain some features, some facts, but not all, of course. Erwin Schrödinger, one of the founders of quantum physics, suggested in his book What is Life that consciousness might be fundamental to the nature of the universe. He explored the possibility of unified consciousness, where individual consciousness would be aspects of larger, interconnected, universal reality as individual, moreover as individual. Some theories suggest that unified dark energy and dark matter as a single entity might be revealed to a universal field of consciousness. Might be related to the universal field of consciousness. Scientific models of dark energy and dark matter are still evolving in quantum physics, and yet it is there is no definite explanation for the nature, and its situation is quite simple. Very little money invested to the quantum physics development, especially compared to genetics, which is absolutely wrong, because I have my PhD in physics and mathematics, and quantum physics was a big part of my education. So this is a Cambrian explosion when biological species appeared like from nothing. From nothing, it was just explosion, and it cannot be explained by evolutionary theory, by gradual mutations of genes, and it's absolutely not working. Evolutionary theory cannot explain it, and many more. Meanwhile, the nature of consciousness itself remains a major scientific and physiological mystery. Some theories, like quantum theory of consciousness, propose that consciousness is a quantum phenomenon like superposition and entanglement within the brain. This also explains why our brain, despite it is very slow in calculations and transmitting of the signals, works so perfect, even in comparison with modern computers. So quantum theory of consciousness has not been widely accepted by a scientific community. Yes, because official science is based on materialistic dogmas, which are not proven not true, but yet again it is what is promoted, materialism, and denial of any spiritual values, and also denial of this consciousness, etc., etc. Morphic resonance is another controversial theory or hypothesis proposed by biologist Rupert Sheldrake in the 80s. This theory is often associated with the idea of collective memory transmitted across generations of organisms that influence the behavior, metabolism, and even physical form of living organisms. Sheldrake also noted similarities between morphic resonance and Carl Jung's collective unconsciousness. But whereas Jung assumed that this unconsciousness transmitted through physical inheritance, Sheldrake attributes the transfer of information to the external field. And again, there are many experiments which confirm that Rupert Sheldrake is right, and it is related to telepathy and vision of future, and even I see it I'm in Thailand, and I see how this interesting fields working for ants. Some species of ants are working very, very much like they communicate with some fields, maybe microwaves, and then they work as hive mind, and they work together. It is like field. It's a field, and this field can be related to some universal consciousness or universal field of whatever life. Okay, morphic resonance. Again, it is not absolutely impossible to explain different forms of living things by evolution of theory. Absolutely impossible. But morphic resonance works, despite it is not accepted. The earliest success in genetics explored theories of aging by stating the role of genes in various aspects of aging process. Genetic variations in some genes have been shown to be associated with longevity in humans, and the somatic mutation theory of aging proposed that aging is caused by the accumulation of mutations in somatic non-sex cells over time, leading to a decline in cellular function and the development of age-related diseases. Some studies have shown that certain genetic mutations can extend the lifespan of model organisms such like yeast, worms, and flies, indicating the potential for genetic manipulation to influence aging. However, the role of somatic mutations in aging remains unclear. Okay, so there are these biological theories of aging and quite many, and mostly they are wrong, of course, from my viewpoint, but whatever. Okay, there are. It is still widely believed that the genes are the foundations of life, but scientists and philosophers are beginning to doubt the relevance of the gene for understanding biology. Genes do provide the foundation for an organism characteristic, some at least characteristic, but it is the interplay between genes, environment, and other factors which are yet unknown that leads to the unique and diverse features we observe in living organisms. The environment can significantly impact how genes are expressed, and epigenetics is the study of how the environment can influence the expression of genes without altering the DNA sequence itself. It was stated that epigenetic modification like DNA methylation and histone modification can influence gene expression and may play a role in the epigenetic theory of aging. So this is how histones work and how methylation happens, and methyl groups accumulate over time in this non-sex cells. So it is the base of so-called this aging series, genetic aging series, and also this epigenetic series of aging. Epigenetic modifications accumulate over time, potentially leading to dysregulation of gene expression and contributing to the age-related diseases. The epigenetic clock, which includes DNA methylation and histone modification status, was proposed as a measure of aging. The first multi-tissue epigenetic clock, Horvath's epigenetic clock, was developed in 2013. Dr. Steve Horvath have 940 publications with more than 1,400 citations. His citation index is 124, which is huge. So his impact and his influence in science is absolutely enormous. But yet again, I don't believe it is science. So he is very productive in making this rubbish, in my opinion, but it has very little connection to real situation. Again, it's my opinion. Epigenetic age measurements with the use of epigenetic clocks have become widely accepted tools for accessing biological age and its relation to health outcomes. Again, this is much dominated, much promoted, much dominated in official science. So and cost of the measurements anywhere about from $200 American for so-called home kit, and to 1,000 and more depending on specific test and its provider. So meanwhile, if we make these measurements on population and try to make some correspondence between chronological age and DNA methylation rate. It is you see you can make line so, you can make so. Again, the possible deviation from this estimation of the biological age is huge, up to 20 plus minus 10 years or more. Nowadays, measurements of epigenetic age have become a part of the global anti-aging industry with multi-billion-dollar market. The market is projected to continue growing at a rate of 5 to 7% a year. And major companies in the anti-aging industry include cosmetics giants, pharmaceutical companies, and providers of medical procedures, cosmetic surgery, Botox and stem cells injections, skincare products, vitamins, and supplements. Specifically, epigenetic clocks are widely used to show the efficiency, so-called efficiency, of some expensive supplements like calcium alpha-ketoglutaric acid, calcium salts of alpha-ketoglutaric acid, and procedures such as blood plasma transfusion from young individuals and also stem cell therapy. Okay, you can watch my videos. Again, I am very critical about the use of epigenetic clock. I believe it is all not correct measurements, but whatever people use it, and people are ready to pay for this. And the stem cell injection, such procedures can be very expensive and look absolutely ugly. And this is getting the stem cells from bone marrow. So the effects of stem cell therapy, blood plasma transfusion, and Botox injections are temporary, lasting only about 3 to 6 months. To maintain the desired results, individuals often need to repeat treatments every few months. The cost of the stem cell therapy ranges from few thousand to hundreds of thousands American dollars. The side effects of stem cell therapy include autoimmune reactions, inflammation, blood clots or embolism, and the increased risk of tumor formation. The severity and type of side effects can depend on the type of stem cells used, or also source of them, and delivery methods, and even more on patient health condition. So this, was making some video about this person. He's an influencer in rejuvenation. He's 74 years old. He made this stem cell therapy and claimed that he started to look better and with better endurance, etc. But it didn't work long. In a year after this therapy, he looked disastrous. Okay, he actually, his aging was accelerated by this expensive procedure. And he also confessed that he was paid for promoting of the stem cell therapy. So I would never rely on these methods of rejuvenation. Okay. Genetic manipulations, particularly those including Yamanaka factors and mRNA vaccines, may potentially produce anti-aging effects. Again, this is potentially just speculations, and again, much promoted, much dominating in official science, and that's what we can do in this. When introduced into cells, Yamanaka factors can potentially revert them to an induced pluripotent state similar to embryonic stem cells. And mRNA vaccines deliver genetic information to cells and may reprogram our DNA, so it is actually a genetic modification of humans, potentially reversing some age-related genetic changes. Yeah, it's potentially maybe, but again, who knows how it works. By including DNA reprogramming or manipulating specific genes involved in aging, these genetic procedures could potentially reverse age-related changes in cells and tissues, extend lifespan, improve health, and treat age-related diseases and conditions. This area of research is highly promoted, and the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines were mRNA-based vaccine during the COVID. And you know about the consequence. I will not go into details. It is again that mortality rate was much higher after these vaccines. So is it rejuvenated people or changing? So I believe that again, these vaccines are make people genetically modified. But is it good or not? It's up to you to decide. Okay, so this is how a mechanism of RNA vaccine works. It is inducing this mRNA, and then cells start to produce spike protein, but eventually it can get into the nucleus and can modify DNA. It is not something new, because viruses are doing the same job. Viruses penetrate and they modify our DNA, so we are all result of this modification. So all viruses, all viral infections modify our DNA, unfortunately. So, and you cannot stop it. Measurements of the biological age with epigenetic clocks correlate to some degree, with main physiological biomarkers of aging such as lung function, blood pressure, resting heartbeat rate, and the risk of all-cause mortality. Yet inconsistencies in measurements, also errors in measurements, can arise from factors like tissue type, sample variability, diet, levels of hypoxia and inflammation, and the specific clock used. Studies have shown that epigenetic age measurements in blood display oscillations with 24 hours periodicity. So how people can rely on them to measure biological age, I don't know. But again, it is popular, it is promoted, people pay money. Actually, also, activation of the immune system as a result of infection or trauma can significantly influence epigenetic age measurements by altering the balance between memory and naive immune cells, and changing the measurements to older or younger. So you can get, if you are sick, your measurements can show that you are getting younger or older, mostly older, but it's possible to get also younger measurements. Instead, I rely on measurements of blood pressure. And blood pressure, so over age of 50, diastolic blood pressure drops, and systolic blood pressure is increasing. And if we subtract the pulse pressure, it is systolic pressure minus diastolic blood pressure. So pulse pressure is always growing. Of course, it is different for different groups. So I think that I'm in group 1, or the most slowly aging people, and but again, with these measurements, I can estimate my biological age or at least I can see how it is changing over time. I'm getting older, and it means pulse pressure is growing, or I'm getting younger and pulse pressure is dropping. So about a year ago, February 2024, my pulse pressure was about 32, 35, like this here. So, okay, even if I'm in group 1, it means biological age of my cardiovascular system was maybe 40, maybe 45, not 65, not 66. But there was some accident. I will talk about this later. I got vaccine, not mRNA vaccine, but just normal traditional vaccine with virus, which weakened virus. And this vaccine make inflammation in my body. Until now, 6 months after the injection, I'm yet not recovered. Before this vaccine, my pulse pressure was in the range 35, maybe 37, like this, 35 maybe, and now it is 40. Now it is 40, but a week after the injection of the vaccine, it jumped to 50 to the range 50-55, and 50-55 it means my age jumped more than biological age jumped more than my chronological age. It is like I jumped to age 65 or maybe even 70 after the injection, but again I'm slowly recovering. So, and now it is about 40, and 40 means I'm like 55 maybe, but again I have to work more on it. So another is lung function. Okay, studies have shown the epigenetic age acceleration or faster aging can be associated with reduced lung function, including decreased lung capacity and airflow. However, the association of epigenetic age with other markers of aging is not certain. Again, if we estimate, if we measure epigenetic age with epigenetic clock, it can show some correlation with normal markers, with health markers, and but it's again not absolutely certain. For example, after 1 year of treatment with combination of human growth hormone, DHEA, and metformin, a considerable change in epigenetic age, it is 2.5 years after 1 year of treatment, was measured together with a decrease in diastolic blood pressure. And this is a marker of accelerated aging. I was talking in my videos, so you see if diastolic blood pressure drops after age of 50, it is aging. It is not rejuvenation, it is aging. And people who, Dr. Fahy, who made this measurements, I'm just, his incompetence in medicine is staggering. How he promotes it, and I should say I didn't know it. I started the same protocol about 2 years ago. I was using injections of human growth hormone, and it is expensive. Okay, also DHA. Instead of metformin, I use berberine, and over time I discovered that my pulse pressure is growing. So pulse pressure growing, it means I am getting aging. I am getting accelerated aging. So I gave up on it, and now I stopped these stupid injections of human growth hormone, which are certainly accelerate aging. Okay, so you can see my videos and read presentation to get into more details. And so again, it is absolutely clear that stiffening of the arterial stiffness, increase in the arterial stiffness is in development of atherosclerosis associated with decrease in diastolic blood pressure, and it is indication of accelerated aging. So how they claim rejuvenation, it is, I don't understand. So this is some photos of how elastin looks like in older age and younger age. In older age, you see these elastin fibers are degraded, and they actually don't work as elastic fibers anymore. They are modified with sugar, or they're destroyed. So this is what we have to take care about in the first. So we have to recover elastin fibers, and this is not easy. This is absolutely not easy. So several studies have demonstrated the reduced lung function is associated with increased mortality risk, particularly from respiratory diseases, cardiovascular disease, and all-cause mortality. Again, why this lung function is getting compromised? Because of elasticity of lung function, of lungs is decreasing. So even if we try to breathe air, the lung is stiff and it is not taking air, so it is not follow the volume of the chest. So this is why the lung capacity drops. And this is indication of aging. This is indication of stiffening of the lung tissue, and not only the blood vessels stiffening, but stiffening of the lung, and we can measure it. We cannot measure maybe stiffening of liver or kidney, but about lungs we just can measure it. And spirometry, how it is measured? It is measured with spirometry. And spirometry is not considered a health marker and lifespan predictor, despite definite indications that it is. So therefore, it is not routinely measured, and I cannot buy a device to measure spirometry. So I can measure spirometry, but it is like maybe in my 20s, it was very common to use, and it's very common to estimate the maximum lung capacity, but nowadays it is just not present at hospitals and clinics. So what we can do, intermittent hypoxia and intermittent hyperpoxia, such kind of training triggers a well-documented rejuvenated effect. Yes, okay. I will not go into mechanism, but as it works, it shows rejuvenative effect. So what we can do, high-intensity interval training, sudden spurts during aerobic exercise, breath holding exercise, and free diving may potentially stimulate intermittent hypoxia in humans and help in removing senescent cells, reducing inflammation, and improving cognitive abilities, extend lifespan and longevity, and health span and longevity. Okay, we can go, and this is very potent way, a very good way to slow down and even rejuvenate your body. So this is how spirometer works. It measures not only a maximum lung capacity, but the rate of inhaling and exhaling air. So it is such devices are available, but they are not very cheap, and I don't have such device right now. I only can measure maximum lung capacity. So this is a result. This is an example how diving, free diving, helps to keep human body efficient from aging. And the Japanese AMA, the free divers, they continue diving to the age of 90. So in the age of 90, they are yet able to dive 15 or even 30 meters deep and hold the breath and collect some shells or other organisms, and they live on it. So it is amazing. So diving is very, very helpful. The only problem that with Japanese AMA, they go diving only 2-3 months a year. So they don't do it every month, but even such 2-3 months period decelerate their age and keeps them physically and mentally active and healthy. So next, the gut and skin microbiomes are encoded with over 3 billion genes, whereas the human genome is encoded with only 23,000 genes. Okay, you see, we have 3 billion genes in our gut and on skin, but our genome is only 23,000 genes. If our rejuvenation is based on genetics, we have to consider that we are not only our body and tissues, but we also include these bacteria, microbes on skin and even in our bodies, and especially in gut. And gut microbiome can directly or indirectly influence the markers of biological age, including epigenetic age measured with epigenetic clocks. Again, it is a fact. If you measure age with epigenetic clocks, then gut microbiome is what defines the measurements. For example, pathogenic microbes in the gut produce toxins and metabolites that may induce acute inflammation, or so-called inflammation, resulting in DNA hypermethylations and accelerated aging. This is experimental fact. Gut health is shaped by diet, prebiotic intake, physical activity, in some cases careful use of antibiotics. There are some antibiotics which are efficient to kill pathogens, but they are not very effective to kill beneficial bacteria. So it's possible to use antibiotics. A diet and exercise significantly impact both the gut microbiome and aging process in humans. Again, this is also experimental fact, it's no doubt. And why physical activity is changing gut microbiome? Because physical activity shorten the gut transit time. So, and the shorter the gut transit time, more these pathogens will be expelled and more beneficial bacteria will stay. It shows the natural way, again, these facts show natural way for radical health span and lifespan extension without genetic manipulations, expensive supplements and treatment. So this can work. So simple: exercise and diet, proper diet and exercise. So we know that the gut microbiome is changing over time, and in our in infants, especially breastfed infants, they have mostly bifidobacteria and also lactobacteria, and not many pathogens. They have, but not much of them. But as we are aging, beneficial bacteria, we almost losing all beneficial bacteria, and only pathogenic microbes produce toxins and make inflammation in our body. This is how aging works. So these pathogens, they produce leaky gut syndrome, so inflammation in the gut, and then these toxins, they get inside the blood vessels and ignite reaction of the immune system. So it's ignite chronic inflammation and accelerated aging. Even they can go to blood-brain barrier through the blood-brain and cause Alzheimer's disease and other problems with brain and cognitive ability. So it is actually very, very important for our body to function, to keep these tight junctions between the epithelium cells. So to understand necessary changes in the diet, consider the fact that even breastfed infants do not absorb all protein in their mother milk. Again, even they have this whey protein, a lot of whey protein in breast milk. Even whey protein, it cannot be completely absorbed. It goes to the colon, and in the colon pathogens produce some toxins. But as we have lactose in the milk, in the breast milk, and also cow milk, the lactose may work as prebiotic, supporting healthy gut flora, and they are reducing transit time in infants to 8-12 hours. And this helps to prevent accumulation of pathogens. So despite these proteins are getting to the colon, even in infants, the short transit time keeps them under control. In adults, the whole gut transit time typically falls between 14 and 58 hours. Yeah, I don't know about 40, but 58 hours is quite possible. Okay, so you know your gut transit time. Okay. In elderly individuals, protein digestion efficiency can drop to as low as 10%, leaving excess protein. So this almost all protein gets to the gut, and then it is used in the gut for harmful bacteria to be converted into ammonia, hydrogen disulfide, and other toxins. So it is well known. Ammonia shifts the gut lumen pH to alkalinity, so it is pH more than 7, potentially leading to the gut transit times longer than 59 hours, constipation and cancer development. This again, so you cannot digest meat, you are getting cancer. Yeah? And why you cannot digest meat? Because stomach acid secretion drops dramatically from young age, like 180 maybe, to below 40, so it is almost four times less stomach acid is produced, and also these enzymes to digest proteins are not produced, so this is why old people cannot digest meat. The drop of pH to 6 and below, so it is acidity, supports the growth of beneficial bacteria, it is lactobacteria and bifidobacteria, that are producing short-chain fatty acids, promoting cholesterol absorption. Cholesterol, many times I said we need cholesterol. We absolutely need cholesterol, and as much cholesterol is better, because cholesterol is essential for detoxing our body, for the use of fat as source of energy, etc., for producing of hormones. It is base of our health. We need a lot of cholesterol. So also it is improving gut health and reducing diarrhea. And clinical studies have shown that mice drinking acidified water in the morning, for example, were less likely to develop diabetes. Okay, so if you start your morning, in the morning you drink acidified water with citric acid or other acid, and I drink it also during the day, and especially it is very useful during in the morning. So, however, reducing, okay, it's also help, yeah, but what medical professionals recommend? They recommend, okay, you cannot digest proteins, you have to reduce protein intake in old age to avoid this fermentation of protein in the colon, but it leads to sarcopenia, to the loss of muscle mass, and increase the risk of bone fractures, and then you will die from this. You will, after bone fracture, people normally don't live longer than 6 months. 6 months and your life is over. Why? Because you don't have enough of these amino acids and to sustain your body. So certain cooking methods can improve protein digestibility. I was talking in previous videos about this. And also increasing prebiotic consumption can enhance gut health and overall health of our bodies. Also, amino acids and whey protein can be included in the diet. Amino acids, they will be absorbed in the thin intestine, so they directly go to the blood. And whey protein is relatively easy to be split by enzymes. But again, even whey protein cannot be digested completely. It is well known in publications that even this whey protein and some water-soluble proteins may not be digested but go to the hell. And what to do? You have to shorten the gut transit time. You have to do something else. So large intake of prebiotics can improve gut health by nourishing beneficial bacteria, which in turn promotes healthier gut microbiome, and also to shorten the gut transit time. So this, how it is not my photo, but this I use this convection oven, the same, similar like this. I use convection oven and use aluminum foil that's to put meat inside, sometimes with proteins, with some enzymes, but it works even without proteins. The cooking time is long. It's about 1 day, maybe 12 hours, no shorter than 12 hours. But it is delicious. I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay. If we want to live longer and healthier lives, we must not only care about our bodies, but also for the ecological systems that sustain us. Practices like industrial monoculture farming, excessive use of pesticides and herbicides, and destruction of biodiversity degrade these systems and harm both the planet and our bodies. These practices pollute our food supply, compromise soil health, and increase our exposure to toxic compounds. In my view, the human's purpose, I believe we have a purpose. It is not only to survive, but to protect and sustain life on this planet, and over time to spread life to other planets of our solar system and maybe to distant stars. We are not just biochemical robots, like dominating viewpoint of dominating science claims that it claims that we are just robots, and or with this DNA program with DNA. It is absolutely nonsense. We are stewards and guardians of sustainable life and conscious participants in a larger interconnected universe. This again. This is why quantum physics needs to be supported, because it gives us insight who we are, why we are important for life, to sustain life, what is our purpose, and how we can travel a bit from one star system to another star. So we can travel probably through this other dimensions, and quantum physics claims that we have 11 dimensions and our world is only 4 dimensions, so it's again we can go to other dimensions, and then like in Duna, you know, Duna movie, so it is like we can travel through this other dimensions too, and with no time, we just like poof, get to the other star system. And I hope the support and development of quantum physics will help us. So, and if we have this purpose, we have to live according to this our purpose, and we have to take care of ecology. Meanwhile, you see how people spread these toxins and herbicides and pesticides, and these are nothing more but toxins. And I tell you, I moved to Thailand, and I was doing farming. I bought 10 hectares of farming land, and I was growing cash crops to get some money. And this what at first I was thinking, oh yeah, I will do nice way, I will do it without pesticides and herbicides. And what was the result? My profit from, we worked like hell, we worked a lot, but no profit, zero profit. All other people who participate in, like workers and people who operate machines, got the price they asked, but we didn't get any profit. So I said, okay, if we cannot sell this pure food, biologically clean food at higher prices, and people will not buy it, okay, we will do the same like other people do. And then we were spraying a lot of chemicals to our cash crops. It is sugarcane and cassava, and also maize, corn field, and it was so much. I tell you, but I mean, it was normal. Other farmers were doing the same. But I will tell you that if the workers were not protected completely from these toxins, they were losing consciousness. After this experience, I decided I will never eat anything from the market, because all the what is available in the market is produced with a lot of herbicides and these pesticides. And it's all toxic. And when I stopped to consume fruits and vegetables, all my problems related to autoimmune reactions just slowly disappear. Okay, so this is what I say. We go in wrong directions, guys. We go in the wrong directions. The pursuit of health should not rely on the hope for magical pill or costly treatment. This is what is promoted by all the medical professionals, all the propaganda, that we have some magical pill and people pay a lot of money for these pills and consume and spend a lot of money on treatments. And the result, they accelerate aging, not get rejuvenation. They accelerate own aging. I was talking about this many times. So real, lasting health improvement and radical life extension require a systemic, holistic approach. In this sense, the development of quantum physics is even more important than the genetics. Again, quantum physics will show us our place in the universe. Our quantum physics will show that we are one with all the other living beings, and we are all one is all universe. This is what quantum physics is talking about. So my goal now is to develop an affordable step-by-step health protocol that extends health span and promotes radical longevity even for poor people in developing countries. Again, I believe and I see it, I implement this protocol on myself first, and some people who participate in this project also try with good results, I tell you. So the first step is to abandon expensive, often ineffective supplements and treatments in favor of practical lifespan changes. Okay, what to do again? I was talking in my videos. And the second step, waste products such as lipofuscin and long-living cells, oxidized lipids, toxins, and adiposities can be removed by immune cells with microbial enzymes in the lysosomes, as I demonstrated in 2018. It works fantastic. It works fantastic. It rejuvenates my body, and now I continue it, but it goes slowly. This virus is yet present in me, and inflammation is yet present, so I cannot, so it takes time to remove the virus and to rejuvenate my cardiovascular system, unfortunately. But okay, this is lipofuscin accumulated in neurons, but also in other living cells. It is like a lot of lipofuscin accumulates in muscles. And lipofuscin is such name for products of reaction of oxidized lipids with proteins and with sugars, and so it is cannot be digested by enzymes our body produces, but microbial enzymes can split it to soluble products, and then it would be removed from our body with liver. And again, to remove our body, we also need cholesterol. Cholesterol will help to remove the fat-soluble toxins. Okay, this is how, for example, these advanced enzymes work to remove deposition of these lipids, oxidized lipids in arteria, and it works. It works. I demonstrated that it works. So our immune cells cannot digest it. So if they go inside, they try to consume these oxidized lipids, but they cannot. They accumulate in the lysosomes, and eventually they are turning into foam cells and then die, and it goes further. This plaque is growing further, and eventually can lead to death. But with my enzymes, it works, and it works. The third step is following a diet which includes not digestible carbohydrates, or so-called prebiotics. We call it prebiotics. Non-digestible carbohydrates. Yeah, difference between digestible and non-digestible. So, and these prebiotics can be easily fermented by intestinal microflora, such as, and one example of this prebiotics, resistant starch, oligofructose, inulin, chitin, and lactulose. Resistant starch type 2, such as raw potato and cassava starches, is the most affordable prebiotic for fermentation into butyrate. Butyrate is particularly beneficial for its protective effects on the intestinal mucosa. This is a way of mucosa protects our epithelium layer in the gut. Potential anti-inflammatory properties and reduced risk of colon cancer. Additionally, the modulation of gut pH by short-chain fatty acids and shortened gut transit time are other advantages which you can get from consumption of prebiotics. And sorry, it's my washing machine. Make a signal that the process is over. Meanwhile, low-carb, ketogenic, and carnivore diets, popular for weight loss and metabolic health, typically remove starch and typically avoid starch and prebiotic consumption. We'll talk about this in next videos, but again, you have to understand what is resistant starch. There are 5 types of resistant starch, and one, the starch type 2 is the most beneficial. This is potato and cassava starch, not starch from grains, I should say. No, not rice, no grains, not wheat, but it is only from tubers. Rice starch from tubers works. Other starches don't work. So maybe some starch from fruits may work if the fruits are not sweet. I try sometimes, but okay, they also work. They also work. But question is of price. This starch is very cheap, and fruits, they have these pesticides, herbicides. Sometimes I eat fruits from my garden, so I never use pesticides and herbicides, never chemical treatment, any chemical treatment, even fertilizers. So they are clean, but it is the yield is not high, of course, but for me it is more than enough. I have pine trees, I have mango trees, I have jackfruit trees, and berries, etc. So it's too much. Actually, I consume only part of these fruits from my garden. So this is again how the resistant starch works. It goes, it is not digested in the thin intestine, but it goes directly to colon. In the colon, this beneficial bacteria multiply and use it as source of energy and produce a lot of vitamins and short-chain fatty acids, etc. So it's very beneficial. But even more, it is that they shorten the gut transit time. So integrating resistant starch type 2 into these diets can, to the carnivore and ketogenic diet, can offer a distinct advantage, since resistant starch type 2 doesn't exhibit the same digestibility as regular starch, and also starches like type 1 or type 3. So its inclusion does not significantly raise blood sugar levels. It means that individuals on such diet can reap the benefits of this prebiotics like enhanced gut health and satiety without compromising the state of ketosis. State of ketosis is absolutely necessary. I was talking in my previous presentation. I will talk it in future also. It is absolutely necessary. We don't need glucose. We need fat as source of energy. So lactose in cow milk and breast milk can work as prebiotic too. It is well known, because especially if you're intolerant to lactose, it is good. Consumption 15 grams of lactose makes absolutely healthy. While prebiotics are recommended in doses from 15 to 50 grams per day, I propose gradually increasing over several weeks. Again, not do it quick. This resistant starch type 2 daily intake above 100 grams, maybe 200 grams if you over time you can get it. So, and this allowing the gut microbiome to adjust. If a sudden surge in intake of this resistant starch type 2 can lead to gastrointestinal discomfort, such as the abdominal pain, vomiting, bloating, and some people again always do it slowly. But also lactose. You can consume lactose as powder. It is available. But if I use, for example, whey powder consists of 60% of lactose and whey proteins. I add it to milk and to drinks. So it is also a way to consume lactose. Lactose works quick, and it is already fermented. In part, it is fermented in thin intestine, so it is working very quick. But side effects, that because it is so quick working, that gas release can be too high. So you have to find out what amount of lactose you can tolerate. The fourth step is improving the elasticity of the skin and tissues. It is yet a matter of few research. I tried to get some money for this. I tried to get money for clinical trials of my microbial enzymes, because they work perfect in small trial, but despite high death rate from cardiovascular diseases, nobody is interested, because this is way to make money in business. Without, if people will be healthy, how these medical professionals will survive? They hate me. I don't go to medical professionals maybe 25 years. I never sick. The only bad experience, so, but there was no other way, fortunately. So I went to this medical professionals, I got this vaccine, and with absolutely disastrous consequences. So I tried to recover my endurance, my cognitive abilities dropped, and now I slowly recover, but it is a disaster. Yeah, if to say I don't trust medical professionals, it is to say nothing. Absolutely consider them not ethically people. They are all even stupid or evil people, to my opinion. Okay? You cannot be a good person if you're a medical professional. Cannot be. Okay, so again, monitoring of some vital things like blood pressure, heartbeat rate, lung capacity, temperature, even temperature can show you also your health, can help track the effectiveness of any health intervention, because if you have infection, your temperature go up, it is normal, and also blood pressure go up, etc. And this simple low-cost metrics offer valuable feedback and support a personalized approach to optimize health and extending longevity. In my research, I rely on measurements of lung function, endurance, blood pressure, and resting heartbeat rate instead of the use of this epigenetic clock. Epigenetic clocks, you have to understand, this is highly promoted. A lot of advertisement, but you pay quite money. It is mostly connected to these expensive treatments like stem cell injections and these expensive treatments like David Sinclair promotes some supplements which are very, very expensive. And he claims about that his epigenetic age is much reduced, but don't give any information about health markers. What is his blood pressure? What is his heartbeat rate, resting heartbeat rate? What is his lung capacity? He claims that his lungs, like from 18 years old athlete. Show me number, okay, at least show me number, tell me if you are, but he claims. In my 20s, my vital lung capacity was 6.2 liters. Now it is 5.3 liters, but again, it is dropping, but it is in my age, average lung capacity is 3.6 liters. So I'm much better than in average, and it is again, it is not dropping. No drop in. I hope over time to recover to the 6 liters and maybe more. It depends on elasticity of lungs. It depends on elasticity. So it is not easy. It is not easy, but without any expensive treatments, without expensive supplements, only only your lifestyle changes and exercises like breast hold exercises and maybe diving. Swimming works perfect for me. Now I go mostly for cycling. I am cycling 3 hours a day and do about in total 70, maybe 80 kilometers per day. I'm getting tired, of course, but it is normal. But swimming works better. Swimming, I was swimming in fins for 2 hours, and I'm very tired and also get muscle spasms. So it's again, I'm always pushing myself to limit, but swimming is much more beneficial. So this good measures of pulse pressure were after long time of swimming in fins. Cycling good, but only legs are working and other muscles don't work much. It is again good, but not the best. Maybe again combination of cycling with swimming, and especially swimming and diving, free diving is we see from other people that it works. So, and again, if you measure your blood pressure, you can see the changes in your health, and these changes occur in a matter of week, because if you have inflammation, then your blood pressure go up, but if you are recovering, if you rejuvenate, then this pulse pressure dropping, so it is Very good measure. So you see what is beneficial for you, what is not. So I highly recommend. So this is how our extracellular matrix, because again we are a colony of cells which is supported by extracellular matrix. Extracellular matrix is a frame for our body, yeah, and the cells are just embedded in it, and in over time, what is happening? This elastin fibers. So you see here, elastin fibers are getting destroyed, so the tissues are losing elasticity and cross-link, and collagen fibers are getting cross-linked, so it is getting very stiff. This is what happens, and when it is stiff, nothing works. I mean, that's our immune system cannot this provide its normal support. This keep us healthy, and this why we're falling down. And again, I was talking a lot about how to do it, and I believe microbial enzymes can help together with other means, maybe some antibiotics with something else. So you have to work on it. It's only beginning. But again, I don't have any support on it, so I work for myself mostly. So, DNA primarily holds the information needed to build various proteins, not how to keep our body healthy. It is just about proteins. No wonder that humans share approximately 99% of their DNA with chimpanzees and other primates. However, humans have a smaller digestive tract, a larger brain, and exhibit more complex social behaviors compared to other primates. In particular, humans have smaller colon and cannot ferment cellulose fibers, very much in difference to primates. But what I propose, we may ferment lactose and resistant starch type 2. Yeah? You see, we can do it. Establishing a healthy gut microbiome is the key to our health and longevity. So, if we include large amounts of of the prebiotics, more than 100 gram, we can shift, we can improve gut health. We can improve our gut for peanuts. It is very cheap. I buy in bulk starches. Tapioca starch is about 60 American cents per kilo. If I buy in grocery stores, it is about $1 American per kilo. It is nothing. And you cannot consume more than 200 grams of the resistant starch. You just cannot, it is too much. And again, I use it, and I see such changes in my body, and it is amazing. I have to do it longer, but changes are amazing. Amazing. So it is, again, I will talk about this later, but it takes time. Maybe I need a few months or longer of such experience to consume a lot of prebiotics. Okay. Stiffening of all tissues is a cause of age-related degenerations in our bodies, and genetic modifications of our genome cannot help in rejuvenation, just cannot. Instead, we have to rely on fats as a main source of energy. Again, it is important to develop our brain and keep our brain running, because brain works mostly prefer ketonic bodies, or some which is produced from fat, and also it can consume some short chain fatty acids and use it as energy, and it is so beneficial. So it is, forget about glucose, forget about including of carbohydrates into your diet unless these are prebiotics. So they are not go to your blood as glucose. Lactose is, in part, it is increase lactose level of glucose. But again, if you don't take too much of lactose, it helps to keep storage of your glycogen in muscle. It is not toxic, and lactose is not consumption of lactose is not increasing your glucose level very quick. It is slow, digested slowly, and again it works as prebiotic. Our infants have consume a lot of lactose, yet they are in ketosis. So consider that lactose is probably, and lactose, I also tried, lactose is very effective as prebiotics, but it produces a lot of gases, so it's again maybe side effects, so which maybe you have to limit your lactose intake. So again, you have to increase the daily intake of this starch type 2 above 100 grams a day, and also use advanced microbial enzymes, and use other various other methods of detoxification of your body, like sauna, like exercises, like drinking a lot of water. So many things, many methods. Okay, so again, we compare humans with chimpanzee. Chimpanzee have a lot of this colon, and they have cecum, and relatively big, but colon is so much bigger. We have thin intestine bigger, because we rely mostly on consumption of fat, and fat is migrate to our blood system from thin intestine. It differs from and amino acids also. But colon can be used to ferment resistant starch in prebiotics. Colon is yet very important for health. If we don't do it, if we follow strict carnivore diet, you will have consequences. Okay, I will talk about this later on. So carnivore diet is good if you can consume and digest a lot of protein, but don't rely only on proteins. Our main source of energy is animal fat and short chain fatty acids, which are produced in the colon. This is again healthy. We can do it. We can improve our health very easy by small things. Okay, you can go to references or information, make your own research, and decide. Maybe you decide that I'm not right. Okay, whatever. And so, mind that I'm not medical professional. I have PhD in physics and mathematics. I always worked in true science because I consider only physics is a true science, and biology is in part when it is biochemistry. When it is biochemistry, you can consider it as a part of science. And the problem with this biology is that experiments take too long, and so it is any results in biology you can get. It takes time, but again, what is genetics? It is promoted as science, guys. It is not. Genetics is a small part of biology. Small part. We are a bigger part of the universe. Learn quantum physics to understand.